Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga in the month of May 2023. Our theme is building a better back. So we are working on strengthening the spine as well as stretching tight muscles that can tend to be responsible for, is my mic on? Okay, Nancy. Thank you so much, Nancy. It is on, but my little speaker is not close enough to it. Let's try this. Hang on.
Awesome.
All right. Tell me how that is, Nancy. Thank you so much. I love the Fitbit watch where I can get my messages right away. So I hope that sounds better. Excuse me, now I need to cough. All right, let's begin again. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga. We're in the month of May 2023. We're working on building a better back. So we're focusing on strengthening the spine, those muscles that are typically weak in our core, the frontal abs, the obliques, as well as the back muscles. And then we're also stretching tight muscles that can lead to back pain. Still a question mark, Nancy. Let's see here. I know I had my mic on. It says I'm on the USB mic. Still nothing, you guys? Check, check, check. I'm not muted. My mic is on. My speaker is by my microphone. Okay. All right. So Nancy, is it on your end? Judith says she has it. I'm just getting a message from Nancy that she can't hear me. So hang on. You got me also. Okay. Nancy said she just logged out and logged back in. Everyone else hears me. Okay. Hopefully you're going to get in there, Nancy. And little glitches, that happens from time to time. Okay, Liz says she's got me. So, all right. Let's continue. Okay, Nancy. Oh, all right. Okay, she says okay. So, today, most of the poses we're going to do will be in a kneeling position. So, I do have some padding for my knees. If you are on a hardwood floor with a sticky mat, sometimes if you're on your knees for a lot, it can be a little bit sensitive. So, have some padding for your knees. We're going to come down to a seated position first. And I hope you've got me, Nancy, because this is your request today for the neck. So I have a hand towel here, and it's just that normal kitchen towel size. And we're going to take it and just place it behind the back of the neck, and so it drapes on either side. And then your left hand's going to come across and grab the right side of the towel. Then your right hand second, and this left side is going to come up over your ear just a little bit while the right side pulls across. Now, none of this is done super vigorously. We're not cranking on our neck, but this is giving us both some pressure and some support. We are going to tip the head over to the right and just gently pull with both hands to create a little length, and then come up. And I just want you to gently move through lateral flexion of the neck. And this is fantastic this morning. I'm really loving this. So we thank Nancy for this special request. Okay, so now we'll add a little bit of a twist with this. So I'm going to turn my head, and I'm still gently pulling with my right hand one direction and my left the other, and just guiding that gentle rotation of the neck. So it should feel like you have support from this towel. And if you don't have one to use, you can certainly still do these movements without the assistance of the hand towel. And then the last one is a chin down toward the right knee. So you're lengthening that back left side of the neck. So I'm going on a diagonal and up, and one more diagonal. And up. Just go ahead and release the towel. I just want you to pause there for a moment. You can even close your eyes and just notice what you're feeling. If you need to kind of move your head around a little bit, great. Or just stay nice and still and take a couple of breaths. So to reverse this, your right hand's going to come across first to the left side of the towel, then the left hand, and we bring this up over the right ear and then across. And we're going to start with the side flexion of the neck. Oh, wow. That feels really nice. And again, just guide it nice and easy without too much pressure. And we're doing 3 of these in each of the positions. And our second one is the twist. So I'm almost bringing this down a little bit more in front of my eyebrow. I'm going to pull it into a rotation and back into the center. Let's exhale with that twist. And bring it in. Sitting up nice and tall, strong core. And back to center. And then our third one will be on the diagonal. So I'm going to kind of bring this up slightly so I've got a trajectory down on the diagonal. And back up. So the upper traps and the muscles that elevate our shoulders attach up here on the back of the head. And when we're shrugging our shoulders a lot or tense in the upper shoulders, it can really tighten this area of our neck. And bring it back up. Come back to center. Release both sides. Pause for a moment. Or maybe move the head around, some circular action. And then we'll release our towel. Excellent. So that's just a quick little sequence. If you've got some neck stiffness that you can do at any time during the day, if you're spending a lot of time at your computer and you're feeling all hunched up, try those little quick neck releases. Okay, we're coming into cat and cow. And again, we're going to be on our knees for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and put my knee padding right underneath my knees. And then hands and knees position, all fours. And let's start in cat. So we're going to tuck our tailbone, that little C curve, look toward your belly button and create as much space in your spine as you can. And then carefully the first time on reversing that, we'll come into cow. And I say carefully because a back bend might pinch the lumbar spine. So you want to be really careful of how far you go here. And then breathe out as you come up into cat, a big exhale. And breathe in as you come into cow. So this is a good time to just check in and notice how your spine's feeling today, and if there's any tenderness or tightness or any areas of soreness you got to work around, you can be mindful of that. After your last cow, dropping the belly, come directly to neutral. So there's a little small sway in your lower back, whatever that is for you for neutral. And come into bird dog with the right leg straight back and the left arm forward. And just hold and feel the muscles of your entire core firing here as we hold this bird dog position. Now on this next series, if you need to set your left hand down for balance, feel free to do that. Otherwise, we're just going to leave the left arm reaching and take the right leg way out to the side and then bring it across the midline as far as you can go. So this is hip abduction and adduction, out and in. So with both hands down, it would look like this, and a little bit more equal distribution of the upper body weight. And we'll do 2 more. And 1 more each side. And then take it all the way out to the outside and set your foot down on the floor and stretch forward for the inner thigh and the hamstring. If it feels okay for your shoulders, reach your hands way out like you're going to do an extended child's pose and bring your forehead down to the mat, or perhaps your elbows, or you can support your elbows on your yoga block, depending on how tight you are in your hamstrings and inner thighs. And we'll just take a couple of breaths here. And then walk your hands back in, press yourself up. Bring that right foot again behind your body and tuck your toe under for a calf stretch. So I'm pushing into the ball of my foot and pressing down into my heel. You can stay here, or we can bring this up into a down dog. And I've got the top of my left foot down into the floor while I'm pressing my heel of the right foot down into the floor. 2 opposing stretches here for the feet and the ankles. One more breath. Now, when we set the knee back down on the mat, we'll set it right in the middle of your mat and kick your left ankle slightly out to the back edge of your mat, and we'll open up into a side plank. So I have this the bottom lower leg on an angle, which gives me a little bit more support. And then if it feels okay for your shoulder, take that top arm and really stretch it like a half moon. This should feel great through the side body. And we'll prepare to pull this up with the strength of the side body into gate pose. So we lift that arm, we come up away from the mat, and then stretch the opposite way. And let's slowly move 3 times in each side stretch. Now I'm just putting a little bit of a pressure on my fingertips here and letting my core do almost all of this work. But if you need a little bit more support on your arm, you can certainly do that. So we're stretching and strengthening the quadratus lumborum, which is a big muscle in the lower back, kind of shaped like a diamond. All right, let's take it all the way down into your side plank again. We can hold here or lift this top leg up if you feel okay with that. And we'll do about 5 leg lifts and squeeze this glute muscle. Keep your core engaged. Try not to slump down into that shoulder. So really stay lifted. 3, 4, and 5. Bring that foot down. We're going to walk our hands toward the front of the mat and then bring ourselves onto both knees and rise straight up. So I feel a big difference between the stretchiness of this side of my body and this side of my body. So we're going to come into camel. Take your fists or your palms and place them right back on your sacrum. Slightly squeeze the glutes, pull your shoulder blades back, lift your heart up to the ceiling, and slightly back bend. 2 breaths. And then we'll come all the way up and relax the arms. We'll take our camel over to this direction. So I'm going to bring this hand back behind, opposite hand up, twist a little, and try to reach my fingertips back toward my foot on that side. And really take this arm and stretch up. Now try to keep both of your hip bones straight forward. So I'm not going to turn my pelvis. I'm just turning at the waist. And you can look over your shoulder. And then come all the way up. And we'll move the other direction. So this hand reaches back. Option to lift the other arm up, doesn't have to. And we'll turn, look toward that foot behind. Maybe you can touch the heel. You might have to tuck your toes under to reach the heel. This is our twisting camel. And then come up, inhale, and exhale down. So we're going to move through that entire sequence, and I'm going to turn this way now to do our cat and cow. And we'll just do 2 of each. So round the back up into a nice cat, look toward the belly, tuck the tailbone under, exhale, then inhale into cow, lift the tailbone up, glide the heart forward, and round up to cat. Mobilizing the spine through flexion and extension. And then come to your neutral. Take the left leg straight back into spinal balance. The right arm goes forward and we'll just hold. So notice if your pelvis is level or if you're trying to lift your left hip up, we want to keep that nice and balanced. And if you need to set your right hand down as we move through this next piece, you can do that as well. But we'll take the left leg straight out to the side as far as you can move it, and then bring it across the midline. Now, sometimes we do this with a turn of the head. I'm not on this one, but you certainly can look side to side. That's going to also give you a little bit of neck mobility here. Scoop those abs up so that your back isn't sagging and drooping. Let's do 1 more each direction. Then take that left foot all the way out to the side, a comfortable range of motion, and then we'll stretch here. So maybe you're still up on your hands or to the elbows or to a block, or reach those arms all the way out like a down dog or extended child's pose and drop your forehead down to the mat. And then just really connect your brain and body and notice what you're feeling here. For me, it's a big inner thigh stretch on this side that I didn't experience as much on the other side. So it's just nice to be aware of those differences we might feel in our body. And then bring your awareness back to your breathing, nice and slow. And then we'll walk the hands in, carefully press yourself up. Bring that leg again straight back behind your body, tucking your toes under. Push into your heel. You can stay like this, or we can push up into your down dog. So I have the top of my right foot pressing down into the mat, and the bottom of my left foot pressing down. 2 opposing foot and ankle stretches. 2 more breaths. Really elongating those muscles. And then as we place the front knee back down on the mat, put it in the middle and kick your ankle over to the side. Place your hand in the middle and come into your side plank. So for those of you that have some shoulder rotator cuff issues, you don't even have to touch your arm to the floor. You can really use your core here in this side plank. And then take this arm and allow it to really stretch over. So we're really opening up that side waist. And let's begin to pull up into gate. So lift, lift, lift. Stretch the opposite direction. And make sure you're not bending forward when you're stretching. So this is just directly to the side. And we'll move 2 more times between each position. So this requires a lot of strength in our core to pull yourself up from that position. Use the breath to help you with that. So we can take a nice full inhalation when we're in the stretch. And then an exhale to come up. And then back to your side plank. And if it feels okay for you, lift this top leg up and do about 5 or 6 leg lifts. Hand can be at your hip. 3 and 2 and 1. Lower that leg down. Excellent. We'll come back around to the front of your mat to pivot onto both knees as we did before for our camel. And rise up. Place hands or fists behind that lower back. Open up the chest muscles. Pull your elbows back together. Slightly tighten your glutes. Press the hips forward and come into your camel pose. So we're trying to extend through all the vertebrae of the spine to create this back bend, not just in the low back. So we want to create length through the thoracic spine, that mid back, and just a little bit in the neck. And then we'll release. We'll take a twist to this side. I'm going to tuck my toes underneath this time so my heels are up a little higher. Reach the hand behind you. The opposite arm can lift. We keep those hips straight forward as we turn the spine. Look over your shoulder and reach back to that heel. And bring it up. Inhale, drop the other hand, rotate, and extend the spine. Feel some work in the quadriceps here as well. And inhale, come up. Exhale, and lower down. So I'm moving again to this side where we began our practice for a kneeling lunge. You might need to have a block close by. We're going to step the right foot forward a nice distance and sink down into your kneeling lunge, Anjaneyasana. And then we can place a hand on the block here for a little bit of stabilization. And we'll lift the left arm up. So if you don't need hand on the block for stabilization, you can bring it up as well and maybe grab the wrist of the left hand and pull your body over to the right So we're opening up that left hip flexor, or your hand can stay on the block and you can just reach toward the right side of your body with that upper arm. So hip flexors are one of the #1 culprits of low back pain if they're really tight. All right, let's come back up. And now we shift this into a hamstring stretch. So the hips go back, the front ankle flexes, and we can use our block to support us as we lower the chest down toward the leg. And hamstrings are also a big culprit to lower back pain. If they're too tight, they pull on the attachment here at the sitting bone, which causes the pelvis to turn underneath and can give us some low back issues. Two more breaths. And then we'll rebend the front knee. We can place the block under the left hand and twist open to the right. Your arm can reach, you can keep it down, you can bring it behind your back. You can also place the palms together and bring the elbow across the thigh. And this is your twisting prayer lunge. This is going to give us another release for that left hip flexor. 2 breaths. And we'll come out of the twist and slightly walk this front foot out toward the edge of your mat. This is going to give you space to put both hands down in the middle of your mat. And we'll stretch here. So we're getting this glute and upper hamstring to stretch, as well as the hip flexor. Some of you might be able to come down to your elbows or elbows on your block. In yin pose, this is called the dragon or sometimes the gecko. Two more breaths in this stretch. If you're watching later on YouTube, you can quickly pause your video and hold longer and make these poses a little bit more like a yin practice. All right, press yourself back up. And then we can simply take this front foot and swing it around, place both knees on the kneeling pad and stretch back into child's pose. And just pause for a moment. Notice any differences between the sides of your body, right and left. If you'd like a little bit more vigorous restorative pose, you can lift up into down dog for a couple of breaths and drop both heels down towards the mat. And then we'll prepare to step the left foot forward into a big kneeling lunge. So sometimes it's hard to get it any further than this. So sometimes I just grab my ankle and I lift up my foot and I move it over there so we can get it, or you can inch your toes, kind of scooch them forward along the mat until you get that foot way out ahead of you so you can drop this hip down. Because if we're up here, we're not getting much of a hip flexor stretch. We want to get down and forward. So we can use that block in the left hand right next to the side of our body here and lift the right arm up and stretch. Now, anything we do with our arms is just optional. So do what feels best for your body. If you want to let go of the block and grab your right wrist, you can pull your body over to the side. Wow, that really increases the stretch for me. Or you can still side bend, but hold yourself up on the block so you have some stability. Now, a little hint, and I know I've told you guys this before, but if you squeeze this glute, tighten it, It'll help you to release your hip flexor. Reciprocal inhibition. Okay, let's come up and shift back into your hamstring stretch. Pull your toes up. You can use the block to support here. And it's more important to do this with a neutral spine than it is to curve and bring our head down towards our legs. So that's not anything that's really special. We want to keep the spine long. That's going to be more beneficial to our back. The core muscles tighten. And then just find your edge and hang out there and breathe. You can have a micro bend in your front knee. Actually, I prefer a little tiny bend there. And that protects your ACL ligament from overstretching. We definitely don't want to lock that knee. Okay, let's rebend the front knee, coming forward. Our block can now be under the right hand as we twist to the left, extending that arm if you would like to, or hand can go to your hip. You can wrap behind your back, or you can press your palms together and bring the right elbow across the left thigh for your twisting prayer lunge. And then we allow that right hip to sink down toward the earth, and we gently squeeze the gluteal muscle. The head can turn up over the left shoulder. 2 more breaths. And then come up out of the twist. Start to walk your left foot over to the left side of your mat. Now you have space to bring both of your hands down into the middle. And if you're really tight, use your block as a tool to keep yourself elevated up any amount. It has 3 heights, so you can be all the way up on the high position, you can be on the medium, on the low, you can come down to your elbows, and just breathe in this pose. 2 different stretches going on here. That front leg, it's really stretching the top attachment of your hamstring where it enters the sitting bone. And then that right hip flexor. And this is difficult for me, but some of you might be able to actually reach back and pull this ankle in. Oh, my hamstring said no. Give me a little crampola. All right, couple more breaths here. This is our gecko, our dragon. All right, if you feel equally stretched out on this side, let's press up and we'll bring that left foot back to meet the right. We can come either into a child's pose recovery or a down dog, stretching the back of both legs. I'm going to take that down dog because my hamstring cramped up on me. I'm trying to demonstrate that. So I'm going to need to lengthen it out. Couple of breaths here. All right, if you've got your hand towel, I'm going to move our kneeling padding out of the way and come on down. And we can place this hand towel at the top of our mat where our head's going to be, and we can use it as a little pillow if we're going to need it. Then lower yourself all the way down to your belly. And then we'll turn our head to the left and just set our head on that little hand towel. And see if you can stay like this on your belly with your head turned. It might be too much pressure on your neck, so you're going to decide if you need to lift your head up and come in a little bit more with less twist. But this is a passive neck stretch. And not holding too long, just a couple more breaths. And then use the strength of your upper back to lift up a little bit to bring your head back to neutral, reaching your fingertips back toward your knees. Lift your legs up any amount, and this is our locust pose. So we'll just hold and breathe, strengthening the spine. Your chin should be tucked a little bit, so we don't want to lift our head up and look forward, pinching the back of the neck. So really lengthen the crown of your head forward. One more breath. And then as you release down, now we'll turn our head to the right and relax here in this passive neck stretch. Make any adjustments if this is too much of a twist. And try to relax the upper back. I have my palms up with my arms next to my body, and I'm just letting my shoulders melt open. And a couple more breaths. And then prepare for your locust one more time. So lift the upper back up, turn your head to neutral, make the back of your neck lengthened, and lift your legs up any amount. Your feet can be any amount apart from one another. So some folks like to open them a little bit wider to make this more comfortable, or you can bring your feet all the way into touch. And let's take 2 more breaths here in locust. To make this more difficult, you can also reach the arms above the head. Then bring the hands right underneath the shoulders to carefully push yourself up. Back to child's pose or one more downward dog. This is a nice recovery position for your low back. So we're going to work on some seated poses. And if you want to use your blanket now to cushion your seat, and come into a comfortable seated position. We'll start with the knees and feet a little bit further than hips distance apart. So when we're laying on our back, this is known as happy baby, where we grab our feet and we pull our knees to our armpits. But we can actually take this upside down and we can bring it here from a seated position. So this is just like happy baby. So I'm going to lift my feet up. I have my arms in the middle, but my hands are going to go around the outside of my feet. And I'm using my feet to pull myself down gently. And I feel a big low back release. Nice. 2 more breaths. And then inhale to come up. We'll take this right leg and just tuck it in. Relax it there. Bring the left foot more to the front. Now you might need your hand towel or your yoga strap for this, depending on if you have tight hamstrings. So we're going to take it and put it under the bottom of the foot. Lean back a little bit and see if you can extend your leg completely straight. Now it might be low, could be high, depending on where your flexibility is. If you're pretty flexible, you don't need to use this. You can use the right hand on the outside of the foot. And we're going to pull this across. So if you're using your strap or your hand towel, you're going to use your right hand and guide it across. So I'm getting this nice stretch in the outside of my hip in the IT band. Sit up tall through the spine. And then take this left shoulder, turn it to the back of the room, and look behind you. Your hand can go down on the floor behind your body, or you can just reach your fingers back toward the back wall. And let's breathe here 2 more breaths. And then we come out of the twist first. And we bring that foot back down. Now we'll straighten the leg out on the floor, but untuck the bottom leg first so that when you straighten it out, you now have the inner thigh and the foot connected. And then we'll take a breath in and fold forward. So I'm getting a nice stretch through this hip of the knee that's extended out to the side. Sometimes it's nice to support that with your block if you need that. And one more nice deep breath in. And then come on up and release the strap. Bring the soles of both feet together. Let both knees open out evenly. And a little butterfly stretch as we fold forward. This is going to lengthen the groin, the inner thigh, as well as the lower back. All areas that, if we're super tight, can contribute to back problems. One more breath. All right, sitting up, closing our knees together, and we'll do a boat pose before we switch sides. So with boat pose, we're going to lean back any amount, and our option is to pick up our feet off the floor. So we can hold behind our legs. This makes it much more doable for me. We can keep our hands down on the floor. We can straighten our legs up any amount. We can lift our arms. Can we hold another 15 seconds? Feet can be on the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax down. Sit up tall. Excellent. Going to tuck the left foot under us a bit. And then if we need our strap here, we're going to place it under the bottom of the right foot and extend that leg out to straight. Holding it in your left hand, bring the leg across the body. So we're feeling this outer thigh opening. Sit up really tall. Lengthen, lengthen, and then start to take your right shoulder, turn it back, and look over your right shoulder. The taller your spine is, the more you'll be able to rotate without a lot of compression in your discs. So really lift upward as you're twisting. One more breath, inhale. Exhale, first come out of the twist, then bring the leg forward, rebend the knee, and slide this left foot out a little more. So when we come into our Janu Shirsasana, we have the instep to the inner thigh. All right, using that strap or hand towel, inhale to lengthen, exhale, and draw yourself forward into that stretch. I'm going to bring my block again over and support this side. So our chest is aligned parallel right over this extended leg. And again, we have a pretty neutral spine, so we're not dropping and rounding our back. One more breath here. And then release the yoga strap. We're going to set it in the position where you're going to be laying on your back. So it'll be back behind your head. So I'm going to set it right there. Roll over onto your back with the back of your head on that hand towel. So we did some of these on Tuesday, and I heard from some folks that said it was really nice for their neck. So what you're going to do is hold on to the sides of the towel and use your arms to lift your head up slightly so that you have your neck completely relaxed. Then use your core to lift up and lower down. So it's a nice abdominal crunch with your neck completely relaxed. We can also add some rotation, slightly over to the side, and switch. Exhale coming up, inhale down. One more each direction. And then relax the head and the neck completely. Bring your knees to tabletop. If you need to support your pelvis, you're going to take your hands and bring them right under your tailbone a little bit. And we'll send the right leg out, bracing your core. Bring it in. And your left leg out, bracing your core. So we're really attempting to keep our lower back in neutral or slightly imprinted down into the floor. So we're not lifting our lower back up away from the mat. And our abdominals are really engaged and they're bearing down. We're using that innermost layer of abdominal tissue, the transverse abdominis. So we can use the towel if you'd like and lift up, but relax your head into the towel and then go one leg, the other leg. You can also add rotation. So opposite shoulder comes across to the knee that's up. Take any modification and any progression of this core work. Let's do one more on each side. And then lower the head and shoulders. Lower the feet to bridge. So those of you that were not in class on Tuesday, we did a really great exercise for the glutes. So I wanted to repeat it in class today because I really liked it. So place your heels on the floor, flex your feet up, and lift yourself up into a bridge. It doesn't have to be very high, but I want you to feel your hamstrings and glutes working. And we are going to walk the heels away from us, right foot first, left foot, and then walk them back in, right foot first, and left. So you're going to go right, left, walking out and walking in. Let's do 5. So we've got 3 more. Maybe you're not using your hands, makes it a little bit more challenging. It's up to you how far away you walk your feet. It's going to be harder if you take a bigger step away. 1 more. Come back in and then relax the hips for a moment. Take a breath. Pull your toes up. Come back into your bridge. Hold. Now your left foot starts the journey. Step away and the right foot, the left foot in, the right foot in. This is our walking bridge. It's a little bit different than our marching bridge, which we've done before, but In the marching bridge, we just lifted a foot off the floor. We didn't travel forward and back. 2 more. One more. Walk, walk. Bring it in. And then lower those hips down. Hug your knees right up into your chest. And extend the legs straight up like you're doing legs up the wall. If you have a wall close by, you can scoot over to it and put your legs straight up. We're going to flex and point the ankles and do this fairly vigorously. So I want you to feel your shins working, your calves working, kind of heating up those muscles a little bit. Flex and point, flex and point. You can hold behind your legs if you need to help keep them up. Or you can even use that hand towel back here to keep your legs up. 10 more. 9, 8, 7. I'm feeling a burn. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now just keep your feet still. Staying your legs up the wall. Close your eyes. And just feel that blood exiting the capillaries of the lower legs and returning back toward the heart. The lymphatic fluid, same thing. We're allowing gravity to remove the pooling of the fluids in the lower body, in the legs. This is great if you're starting to get some spider veins or varicose veins or some swelling of your legs or ankles, any edema. This is something you can do for a few minutes every single day. And it's known to be very good for the immune system. One more breath in our legs up the wall. And bend your knees, releasing back down. Choose a side to roll over to prepare to come up to a seated position. Take your time. If you have problems with low blood pressure, when you come up quickly from a reclined position, take your time coming up. Lengthen that spine nice and long. We're going to take a few half circles for the neck. So we'll start by dropping the shoulder blades down. Tip your right ear toward your right shoulder. Chin toward the chest. Left ear, left shoulder. And neutral. Reverse, left ear, left shoulder. Chin to chest. Right ear, right shoulder. And neutral. One more time each direction. Half circle. And reverse. Great. Interlace the fingers together. Press forward, or you can turn your palms to press the hands away from you. Separate your shoulder blades and look down. Look back up to neutral. Option to lift the arms up any amount. Stretch. If you'd like, you can separate your hands and then let them float back down. Pressing the palms together at the heart center as we close our practice, acknowledging our hard work today, our dedication to these classes, dedication to this wonderful community of like-minded people. I am so honored to be able to guide you through this practice today. And the light and joy that resides within me honors the light and joy in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much, everybody. If you can stay on and chat, I've got a minute or two. I would love to hear how everything felt for your back today and your neck. If you need to scoot, I hope to see you tomorrow for our biking workout. Let's get our recording saved.